think what I wanted to get onto, I guess I'm speaking at length about, I was going to talk about social Darwinism, how companies have used Darwinism to have things like competition. Even in the designs of buildings, they're using these evolutionary ideas. But is that good or bad as far as ethical businesses or business design? Right, ethics and atheism. Didn't I talk about that yet? So, what does it mean that the fifth ape should love thy neighbor? There's this idea of universal altruism, which I think is probably the most important aspect of ethics in atheism. Starting from, you can see it in animals, small groups of apes helping each other. Within this sort of area of kinship, there's reciprocal altruism, where one animal helps another animal, and that animal helps the other animal back. So in that way, you can say, if you can see these ethical properties in animals, you could say that moral emotions have an evolutionary basis. They're still evolving with us now. Yeah. Okay. So maybe I'll talk about Christopher Hitchens' great talk about the moral necessity of atheism. Agnosticism is a loss of God. Loss of God is a loss of comfort with consolation. Humanists would say there is no way to prove God. Pluralism, saying that there are so many religions on earth, proves that man made God. It seems that faiths are generally, when they're used by specific people, they're used by those people who want to exert power over other people. Five more minutes gets me to 25 minutes or 30. 5 more minutes gets me to 25 minutes or 30.
From now on? 5 more from now on?
Oh, nothing. Never mind. Oh. I think I could probably talk a lot about how it's possible for any person to be what you might say is an ethical person, and it does not depend on whether they're religious or not. So if an atheist can be ethical, then there's no basis for ethics in religion itself. And then you would say, take the the same side, the same face of the same coin, the other side of it, where you would show all of the different things that modern faiths are doing that are basically unethical. We talk about the monotheistic religion's stance on homosexuality, on divorce, and on abortion. You know, I would say that science shows that homosexuality is perfectly natural. It does happen in other animals. It's you know, There's absolutely no reason for it to be thought of as an immoral act, yet the monotheisms do believe that. Divorce is a very important thing. Like Mother Teresa went to Ireland to try to get the law changed so that divorce is totally illegal in the whole country of Ireland, whether you are a Protestant or whether you are a Catholic. So, at least for that, in that sense, Catholicism is a little mixed up in many ways, but that's one of them. And then abortion, I mean, for anyone that's fighting that battle, pro-choice, people would say women should be able to choose for themselves. And then the monotheistic religions usually say, no, sin, you can't do it, you'll go to hell if you do. And the same church that would say homosexuality, divorce, and abortion are sins, just is still going through its time apologizing for raping young boys. Condoms are banned by the churches. I mean, with the raping of children, the stuff about homosexuality, divorce, and abortion all have sexual overtones. Rape of young men, sexually repressed overtones, condoms being banned. It seems like the faiths are just completely obsessed with sex. It doesn't seem like they're really ethical. They're just obsessed with sex. Yeah, almost time. Well, it doesn't really matter. Okay, well, I'll just read my quotes. Hobbes said, if Adam was condemned to death by sinning, his death must have been postponed, since he contrived to raise a large posterity before he died. That's interesting. I think Marx is generally misquoted, but I got at least what I think is the real quote. It says, religious distress is at once the expression of real distress and the protest against real distress. Religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature, the heart of a heartless world, just as it is the spirit of a spiritless situation. It is the opium of the people. Okay, done.
Okay, I have a question. You mentioned about teachings, but I didn't get his idea, his argument about atheism, about ethics in atheism. How does he argue against religion in the field of ethics? What is his strongest argument? Can you give us some examples?
His strongest arguments against religion as a basis for ethics. Wow, that's a good question. Well, a lot of it has to do with you have to look specifically at where do the books say, the Torah, the Bible, etc., the Quran. Where do they say they get those ethics from? So you actually have to go and then read the book and find the passage that's interpreted by the Pope or the religious leader of that century or that millennia. You have to find the text and then find out what the interpretation for it is. So that's the religious base for ethics. But you have to look at where did it come from, and then look at the context that it's in. Where in one line they might say, okay, well, you should do something good for your family because it's the just thing to do, and then in the next line they're going and killing all of the other religions' families. And, you know, one line it might say, you know, if there's somebody who's needy who comes by, you should give them, you know, shelter or some food. And the next line there's, you know, like, hey, you want to come down to the stoning? We're going to go stone this lady to death. And so it's basically that it's just constantly contradict, the books themselves constantly contradict themselves. There's not even any proof, you know, for who they were written by, or when they were written, or when they were rewritten.
That was this guy's basis, just inconsistencies in the religious books?
Basically, yeah. What was your question again?
Yeah.
Did I answer your question? Yeah. Anyone else have questions? I expect you to get a lot of fierce criticism.
I have some criticism to give you, even though I'm not religious at all. I was also raised in a Christian family, and I went to church just about every Sunday for many